And don't limit yourself. Don't tell yourself you can't. There is no I can't.
Papa-isms. Welcome to Brand Talk with Rachel and Drew. This is Rachel, and I've got a very special guest today. This is Papa. So you guys might have seen Papa at some of our events, or he's usually the teary, proud grandpa in the back row. But you know, especially if you guys are really close to us, you've definitely seen Papa a time or two. So welcome to the podcast.
I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah. So yesterday I called him and I said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And you're like, nothing. I said, well, you want to come get on the podcast? And he's like, well, sure. What do I wear? And so anyway, I told him, I was like, just wear like a nice, like a golf shirt and some slacks or something. So, but anyway, anyways, welcome to the podcast. And I thought it'd be fun to just kind of give everybody a little insight into like really the beauty industry from your eyes, like where you first started, because you were birthed. Really, it's funny. We were just talking about this because Brooks is also from Nebraska. You were born on the side of the highway in a car during a snowstorm.
Pretty close.
Yeah. It's crazy. So,
following a snowplow.
Yes.
Out of a small little farm town.
Yeah.
Into a big town, which was Beatrice, Nebraska.
Yeah. So, but my great grandmother, your mom, who I'm named after, Rachel Curley. Well, that was the last name she kept. She was married several times, but, you grew up in the salon space.
Oh, yeah.
So tell everybody a little bit about that, and just kind of like how old she was when she had you, and like, did you go to work with her? Like, what was the story?
Well, this business is a tremendous business for families to grow from and for entrepreneurial opportunity. And so she started off, she was a young mom, which I'm sure a lot of people in the industry are
16,
young.
right?
That's right.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out early here. And they were able to work hard. It attracts hard workers.
How much were haircuts back then? Do you remember?
Oh, I have no direct
recollection.
$1? Oh,
not even?
No, it was more than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we would never made it in the business. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just something that you can apply yourself to. So if you're in the right industry, know that you're on an unlimited path.
Yeah.
But it's how hard can you work, and how much desire do you have to be able to love the business. So you got to fall in love with it. Otherwise, it's a burden, and you can make money at it, but you still are not going to be happy unless you want to be happy. So I think that's one of the things. You got to have a drive to put yourself into something and be glad you're there. And don't limit yourself. Don't tell yourself you can't. There is no I can't.
Papa-isms. Yeah. So I think that's so true, because you really, with anything, you'll get out what you put in. But most people nowadays, especially, I'm sure from like you, like being at not the age you are, but you're, you're
Put 'em up.
But like, I'm sure it's like, being in business now and like dealing with people now. I mean, you go places, like you can see the customer service now versus then. I mean, it's significantly declined.
Well, there's a bonding though, that it's an opportunity to bond with your customer.
Yes.
And create relationships with your customer. Because you can be talented, but if you don't have a relationship base in there, it doesn't last, or it's fading, or it's phony. So you got to put your heart in. Or you can just go out there and make some money and sit behind the chair.
Yeah.
But there's more to it available in this industry. And so I think it's a terrific opportunity for people who don't want to have to be in a 9-to-5 grind. You're probably going to be in a 7-to-7 grind because you love it.
Yeah. All right, guys, real quick. If you're a salon owner who's tired of grinding behind the chair with nothing to show for it but a sore back and an inconsistent bank account, you need to BYOB, build your own brand. This is our signature program helping salon owners all across the country launch their own private label hair extension line under your name with your profit margins and your rules.
It's not just about services. It's about creating an actual brand that can sell while you sleep. Our students are launching their own Shopify stores, wholesaling to local stylists, and finally stepping into the CEO seat without having to reinvent the wheel.
We're literally handing you the playbook: branding, fulfillment, marketing, legal, all of it. If you've got the hustle, we've got the system.
Click the link in the description below to book a discovery call with our team. Let's build a business that works for you and not the other way around.
BYOB, because doing hair should be because you want to, not because you have to. So, growing up with, which I call her Gaga.
Yeah.
Okay. She says she said she was the original Lady Gaga. So I know my mom came up with that nickname for her, Gaga. But growing up with her, so obviously she's 16. You're a newborn baby, right? Like how old were you when you, like, thinking back to like your first memory of being in the salon and all of that?
I would have been probably about 4 years old, actually.
In the salon?
Yeah, I remember being part of. It's a family business, so I remember being part of the ordering of the shop, building it, being in there, putting the cabinets together, and running around as a little kid, just
Yeah, I mean, you got Kenzie's sitting over here in the corner. I mean, you guys were about the same age when we were building out the salon. I know Evan was sitting there in a diaper and tearing apart all the styrofoam, which I freaking hate. But Kenzie was about 4.
That's one
so
of the great benefits, being able to get into the styrofoam.
Yes, exactly. You can vacuum it. You can and you just never get it all. So you remember obviously from the beginning, so the build out, and then she owned it with her sister, right?
That's correct. They had a shop called Ray and Ann's, and it was over near the medical center in Houston. And so they together came in with the pink and the colors and the this and the that, and I'd wind up there in the afternoons. It was kind of like daycare converted into what you do to be there.
Yeah.
And the smell of permanent wave solution will forever be in my DNA.
And your nose hairs.
That's why my eyes drip every now and then will leak.
Sure. So Ray and Ann's, was that like the place to go? Was that like the hot spot in town?
It was pretty much, because that area around the university and the medical center was, but customer relationships was the key to the deal. They were very, very talented, but the customer relationship is vital, and it's vital today.
Yeah, totally. Especially then, like, was there a ton of salons at that time, or there was just like a few? Like, because now everything, there's like so many salons, like very oversaturated.
There's a difference in my mind between a salon, and a barber shop. Now, I don't mean to belittle the barber business.
Yeah.
But there's a relationship that happened with those customers.
What's a longer appointment usually, so you can like cover more ground and
and develop. It's a big customer relationship business.
More relationship in that time frame.
Right. You got to be good at what you do, or they don't. You can't outfox the fox.
Right.
But you better be able to have the talent and be willing to put yourself into it, and remember pretty much that you're handling people at moments of their vulnerability, and you got to be able to listen. You got to be part psychiatrist.
100%. So we had Gaga and Auntie Anne. They obviously had the salon. How many chairs do you remember? Oh, like big, small?
No, I was probably about a 4 to 5 chair salon.
I think that's a really good size for people who are just getting like started. I see a lot of people that go big too quick.
Right.
And it can end up biting them in the butt. Right. Now, I know that they also did education. So like this, I honestly, guys, I've never like fully asked questions like this. So this is all new information for me too. So I'm excited to have this recording as well for my own self. But they did education. I understand that they did education for Clairol, which was like the brand back in the day. Right. So like, how old were you around the time that they were traveling and whatnot? And like, did you go too? Did you stay home? Like, how did that work?
And primarily became the Clairol representative for this part of the country. Well, actually nationally. Mm-hmm. But my mom wound up taking and starting a beauty school down in Freeport, of all things. And it's also, she ran the beauty school of the area, which was a place called Josephine Hodge. And so anybody who was going to learn about the beauty business was going to go to
Josephine Hodge.
That's right. Yeah. And then within the actual salon business standpoint, well, being able to handle the front desk and the chair and do it all is what
Gaga did. Yeah. Oh, me? I'm her? Maybe I'm a modern day version. Yeah. So I think that's honestly like the same story that most salon owners they're doing, right? Even now, even like this being in what, the 40s? Probably late 40s, early 50s.
I was born in 1945.
Yes.
So this would have been in the
Like either 49 or
the
50,
50s.
50s. Okay. So, obviously hustle and grind was a thing for sure. I know she was a single mom as well during all of that.
Yeah, and I got to spend more time at this. But fortunately, there was a little movie theater that had Saturday cartoons over in the area, the Alameda Theater. And so I get deposited at the fun club some of the time. But, yeah.
Otherwise, you're sitting in the corner of the salon.
That's right.
Did you ever sweep or do hair or anything?
Yeah. No, I never did hair.
Not did hair, but did you ever like wash hair or do towels?
I was good. I was a good corner sitter.
Okay. But like sweeping, did you ever like do any of that
Oh,
stuff?
yeah. There's always, something to be told.
The salon kid chores.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Kenzie and Evan and Ollie now do too. When they're at the salon, I'm like, they just know if there's
learn to
hair on the
work.
floor, grab the broom. Yeah.
Learn to work.
Yeah. I think that's important too because, a lot of people these days, they don't want to work. And because they don't want to work, they don't work. Therefore, they don't learn to work.
They figure out how not to work.
Yes. Like, how can we?
Success doesn't follow that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was talking to Drew about this a few weeks ago. We were talking about just like the mental health, like kind of movement, I guess. But there's also like there are people that have actual mental health, things. And then there's also people that just kind of make excuses. You know what I mean? Like people who are clinically have mental health challenges. And then you've got people that are healthy, literally have all the opportunity in the world right at their disposal, and they just don't do anything, and they're just kind of full of excuses. And you've like what's your take on like what's the difference between somebody who's successful and somebody who's full of excuses or full of shit? You can cuss on this podcast. It's fine.
Okay, I need to be careful
Yeah.
then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I found, because I wound up, besides in my life activities, besides you guys, I wound up with a lot of stuff with sports and a lot of stuff with kids. And so you wind up mentoring people. If you learn to mentor folks and encourage them and you can bring out the best in them who will be your employees and the best in yourself. But if you're trying to shortcut the world, it really doesn't work real well. You won't be as happy. Let's put it that way. And anybody can work for money, but not everybody can have happiness in the process.
Yeah. So you obviously, like, she did hair, Auntie Ann did hair. They traveled around teaching. She had the beauty school thing going on. She had the salon thing going on. At what point did she, because by the time I came around, because you're my grandpa, she was my great grandma, but she had, I didn't get to see that part of it because I was, she was older when I came along.
Right.
So I didn't get to see that part of it. At what point did they shut the salon? Did they shut the salon? Did they sell the salon? What was that part like?
The salon business, my mother went on to manage for an upper end salon, and it was called Frank and Max, I think it was in the Memorial area. And so she knew the business side of the deal as well as the behind the chair side of the deal, and could handle anything that came along.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She.
Well, I knew she could handle whatever, but she
Well,
could
no,
handle her
but
stuff. But I didn't know
yeah.
she like ended up being more involved in the business side.
Right. Well, you
That's
got to.
cool.
I think that's not many places you can do that. This industry is one place where you can become a business person. And my entrepreneurial business advice is have a goal in mind that allows you to build something. You're building a business that has potential sales. You can sell it someday, and to make it where it runs for that. And so your legs don't have to give out on you when you're behind the chair.
All right, guys, I got to tell you about an incredible event that you don't want to miss. It's happening in Palm Springs, September 13th through the 15th. This is something that is going to be the event of the year for CEOs who are wanting to build their wealth. So if that's you, I'm going to put a link in the description below for you to get your ticket. Don't miss it. Now back to the episode. I see a lot of people, and I mean, obviously, me today versus me when I first opened the salon, I'm the same person. However, I operate way differently.
Well, you have a business focus.
Yes. But I think that a lot of people can open the salon and they think they're opening a business, but it actually becomes a very expensive hobby.
Right.
And they actually end up making usually less money than they ever did before by working that way versus working for someone else.
Right.
And so because when you're working for someone else, you don't have any risk. You go to work, you do your thing, you go home, you get a paycheck. You don't have any risk. You're not on the hook for the whole deal if it goes south.
Right.
You don't have a bunch of people counting on you inside the business because you don't have a business. When you take that step over the line and then you are now a business owner, you're also the talent inside the business, but you're now a business owner. That also comes with a lot of responsibility that a lot of people don't talk about. We talk about it here on the podcast and in our programs and things, but it comes with a lot of responsibility, and a lot of people don't realize that because they're all focused on the pretty stuff. They're like, oh, I can paint the wall this color, I can get this equipment, I can it's a lot of the creative side, but there's this whole other side, the actual spokes in the wheel that keep the business going.
Well, you want to build a business that makes you money while you sleep. Mm-hmm. If you can, then you're building a business and you can own it and not have it own you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can run over you. If you're not careful, anything in business will run over you. Mm-hmm. And that desire to be good at no matter what you're at, to be the best at it is when you've got it, that'll propel you and make you hang in there. But for the most part, you want a long-term plan.
Yeah.
You want to develop a plan. How do I get out of this stuff when I'm 80?
Yeah. You're going to be 80 this year.
That's right.
December 22nd.
I'm just getting warmed up.
All right. So, so Gaga ended up, I guess selling the salon. She ended up deciding that she wanted to focus more on the business side of things.
Right.
I know there was there real estate involved? Did she ever get into the real estate game or anything like that?
Not well.
I know she came from a family that did real
builders,
estate.
Yeah, right. So my grandfather built the inside of that salon, the first salon. Mm-hmm. And so other family members were builders in the Houston community. And so there's, but that's all part of what's available to you if you're not getting just to go to work for somebody or whatever,
Right. So when she was opening the salon, instead of hiring someone, I mean, it was probably helpful that she had some connections and again, back to relationships, the importance of relationships and being able to have those and not just thank you, ma'am, next, not having that relationship with the client, but being able to leverage personal relationships to be able to get, the build out done and stuff like that. Was there any importance into the community itself? Obviously, yes, she worked hard in the salon and whatnot, and then also the beauty school thing, and then they did education thing, more the mentorship route. But was there how did they grow their business other than building relationships with the people that were already in the chair.
It was built on themselves. They didn't have a lot of outside business plan, advertising and marketing, though would have been probably, my looking back at businesses, it would be good to have an overview of that. But because of the relationships, I mean, people, women particularly, want to have a relationship. Their customer wants a relationship. They're not just going in. Otherwise, you could roll them in a chair and have a little robot come in and start snipping.
Yeah.
But, so I don't ever see that. I think it's more a psychiatry type deal where they want to talk about, they want to be, they want to have they want to feel good about the person. Like, your mom and the skin side of the business.
Yeah.
She's as much a psychiatrist as she is.
Yeah. For those of y'all that don't know, my mom's actually a medical esthetician. So it's definitely like just multi-generation of like beauty businesses over here. Obviously we've got what I see nowadays, because like obviously in the 50s, the importance of relationships was so important, because that was like life or death for the business, whether they like grew or they didn't, was the personal relationship side. And I would imagine that a lot of the referrals, there was a lot of referrals, like
big time.
Like tell your friend tells their friend tells their friend's friend. And before you know it, you have this clientele. So that's kind of how the clientele happened. That's how the salon happened and became and stayed a thing. Nowadays, what I see is people they're creating less relationships, and they are then looking to technology to try and fill their chairs, which yes, it will work, but then you're always in this like rat race of like, okay, let's spend this money and get these leads and convert these leads and get these people in. And then you can't retain them. And then you go out and you do the same thing again and again and again. And I like to really like refer this to as like fishing. You have to go fish again and again and again. And then you're just a full-time fisherman.
Right.
Instead, what I think is easier is like plant the seed, get the lead, plant the seed, and water it, nurture it, and get them to love being there and love coming there, and so much so that they tell their friends.
Your customer will take an identity ownership position. That's my salon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they'll say that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a client right now. I had somebody, who I love to pieces. I haven't done her hair in years, but she still comes to the salon, and her and her husband actually bought a second house in Denver. And her name's Lisa Till. You've seen her. You've met her and stuff. And anyway, she messaged me and she said, "Hey, I'm in Denver for the summer. I'm hoping that you might know somebody here in Denver that you could refer me to." And I'm like, "Yes." And so I referred her to one of our clients, Missy Paris, who has a salon in Denver, who has, great blonding and extensions and all the things that Lisa would be working or looking for. And I also know the relationship that I had with Lisa and like how awesome she is, and she's married and has kids and all this stuff, and I'm like, she would be really compatible with Missy. And so I actually I paired them up today, but it still circles back to relationships. And so like had like if I didn't have a deep relationship with Lisa, even though I haven't done her hair, our team's been doing her hair, and she'll see whoever,
There's trust.
Yes, exactly. So because we have that deep relationship and therefore we have trust, she continues to not only support our small business, but also trust me to guide her and direct her where she should go, where she lives the other half of the year, And also because I trust and have a great relationship with Missy, I feel I'm pairing them up,
Well, these ladies trust you when they let you start putting color in their hair.
Yeah. But also on the mentorship side, people start to trust you when you care about their business.
Right.
That's not your business.
Right.
And I see so much, and I know obviously our family lineage is filled with mentorship and teaching and training and developing. And, I see a lot of people that have a very transactional relationship with their mentee sometimes. And someone buys a course and they never speak to them, or somebody, there's just no personal relationship. Right. So everything that we're talking about here really stems back to relationship building, which leads to obviously prosperity and, financial independence.
And your customers will brag on you.
Yes. And referrals. We have so many referrals from just clients that we've helped. And I love when we have obviously referrals inside the salon space, but then also when we have referrals inside of the business to business coaching space,
right.
Because it's like, wow, they didn't have to share that. They didn't have to reveal oh, hey, they actually helped me build my business. And because they're they just love what they've learned and they love where they're at now and all that. And we have the relationship. They do nothing else but send referrals, which has been really cool.
Yeah, they'll refer to you as my salon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My stylist.
Or my coach.
My coach.
Yeah.
And if you can build it into that zone, and if you can minimize a tendency to be overly competitive within the business and the people who work for you, because sometimes, people can get a little testy, about personality quirks and different things like that. That was my mom always warned. We talked about the business, and she always warned about that being a vulnerable part of your business. Is that if you don't care about the people enough to make them your friends and do a good job for them and point it out to them, then your customers will be a little flaky because you've built up a not a good base.
Yeah. I think communication is being clear is important, because when you just beat around the bush and, you fluff things up, it's especially now with everyone who's very distracted. People are on their phones. They're not paying attention. They're in autopilot. People don't make eye contact anymore.
Great point.
The communication has to be even more clear these days for someone to maybe retain it, get it,
Well, and as an owner, as a salon owner or an individual business owner, nothing happens till somebody sells something. Mm-hmm. And you've got to remember that is part of the business that you're in. You're out there to provide a service and to point at somebody and let them know that you're helping support. They're helping support your business.
Yeah.
It's a we thing. It's not an I thing. Mm-hmm. I things can get really messed up, but we things go a long way.
I agree, because I think most of the time the hairstylist, the really popular hairstylist, which I did the same thing. You're a really popular hairstylist. Everybody wants you to do their hair. Right. And then you have all these assistants. And then you're like, okay, I'm out of space here. I need to go get a bigger space. Get the bigger space. Don't have the money for it.
Right.
Okay, you have to figure it out. So that's what we call girl math these days. Is we're like, okay, 5 haircuts plus 10 hair extension clients equals this.
Don't forget to look at the numbers.
Yeah, look at the numbers. But you open the salon, and then you think that okay, well, the business is still about you. You're still running it like it's about you, and it's not about you anymore. It's about the team.
Right.
And my face pretty much hit the pavement when I built my business just about me. And my life changed, obviously. I had to create a business bigger than me.
Right.
That wasn't about me at all. And that's when things started to change, I think, is being able to have that different perspective, and which then revealed a different plan.
Yeah, this industry is one of the greatest small business opportunities left. Mm-hmm. You're not building widgets. Mm-hmm. You're building relationships and people, and the sky's the limit. You have to be smart. You don't want to extend yourself beyond, what you can back up. But the sky is the limit, and build it so that if you had to, or if you felt it was the time, if your back gave out or your knees gave out or whatever, you've got something that has numbers, verifiable numbers attached to it, and you can sell it.
Yeah.
Because that's what Wall Street looks at.
Yeah.
Someday that's really what they look at. And so, you got to keep that in mind. But a lot of people just operate from the hip, and the hip might take you a little ways, but those hips can get tired.
Yeah, exactly. So and I think the word that comes up is probably ego that comes up, because our industry has a lot of it. Yeah. But the word ego, how do you recommend somebody putting that down, you know, if that's kind of the thing that's fueling their business and their image and everything right now?
How do you say again?
How do you tell yourself to sit down and shut up so you can grow your business?
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's not about you. It's about the business.
Yeah.
The growth of the business.
Yeah.
And being able to, again, love it enough. If you don't love it, it won't cut it. You got to fall in love with your business. It'll burn out. You know, if I was a coach
the spider, I just had to smack it. I don't do bugs.
debug your business.
Yeah, debug your business.
But you know, you don't know about it. I mean, you don't recognize the amount of time that can be. Also, you got family. You got a family. You got to pour yourself into them, and you do have a family. Some people, they don't have that, but that's a motivation for sure. And you want them to be successful, and you're wanting to build an ethic for them. But it's a wonderful opportunity to be not just go in and punch in, you know.
That mic came out of nowhere.
Automatic high block.
Papa has a Taekwondo background, just in case y'all were wondering. What belt are you?
Black belt.
Black belt. Watch out. So, but yeah, I think you got to you have to love what you do, but it's a double-edged sword because sometimes, because you love it so much, you're willing to sacrifice everything for it. Yeah. And then that can also bite you in the rear end.
Yeah, you got a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Sometimes they crawl, sometimes they run.
Yeah.
Sometimes they kick, sometimes they hit.
Yeah.
Hit home runs, you know.
But I think a lot of people can find themselves, you know, they're, like you said, they're shooting from the hip, they're winging it, they're sliding into home base by the skin of their teeth. I mean, every month after month after month. And a lot, and that works until it doesn't, you know, right. And I know that firsthand. And so, you know, you have to get really serious about what you're building and the time.
You're building.
You're building. Are you busy or are you building?
You're always building.
Yeah.
That's how you get to be.
Yeah.
You know, you have a product that you're building.
You gotta be building, like, truthfully, like, actually building something, because if you're building something, right, you can see progress. You can see, like, oh, this is getting taller, it's getting wider.
It's measurable, and it is verifiable. You know, some people miss the business side of it, in that they don't look to numbers and reports. That's a boring side of it. But if someday, if you wanted to grow it or build it even bigger, that's something that comes from being able to track it, not just, you know, be a flash. And
I think for, like, parents especially, you know, you grew up in the salon space, you were a salon kid. I was a med spa kid, you know. Kenzie was a salon kid, Evan, Ollie, all of them. I definitely wouldn't bring Hendrix in the salon. No, he's a wild man. But, give him time. Give him some time, yeah. But, you know, you have to know that the time you're spending on the things you're spending your time on, that it's actually worth it. That you aren't starting over every single day.
Right.
That it's compounding and growth, you know, and you'll actually have that verifiable, measurable thing one day that you can either sell or pass down to your loved one. But a lot of times, you know, and we talked about this on an episode a few weeks ago, a lot of times, you know, the idea of your child's idea of, like, inheriting this thing that you love, they don't have that relationship with that thing. They view that as, like, no, that looks like I'm not seeing my kids. That looks like financial stress. That looks like arguments, you know, that looks like debt. Why would I want that? You know? Right.
And some people are not cut out for it. But you can, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. But you got to be willing to sacrifice to do it.
Well, and I think also be able to try something that you haven't tried before and seek guidance, you know. Right. And like, nowadays it's so easy to get information. then, I mean, what, like back in the day in the 50s, like if, you know, Ray and Ann wanted to grow their salon, like who would they have gone to?
Well,
the Bible and praying.
almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, they just knew how to work hard.
Yeah.
There was an ethic, a work ethic that's out there that came along with. They didn't come up rich. They weren't born rich. Mm-hmm. They worked hard and became very successful. Mm-hmm. But that's because they had a mindset to, you know, to be able to. I can do it if I work hard enough. I'll get it done. Mm-hmm. And you know, it was all hard work.
Mm-hmm. I got fix your hair.
I'm at a place where there's
Drew.
He brought
a haircut.
comb.
Yeah.
There's the man.
Oh goodness.
Hey, big guy.
Hi, Ben.
Those are some big sunglasses on that big guy. Mm-hmm. Hi. Well, I've enjoyed having you on the podcast. I think Drew's gonna probably want to do a little podcast episode with you too. But until next time, guys, thank you guys.
Thank you for letting me come visit with you guys.
Yeah, totally. And if you guys want to see Papa back on the pod, leave us a review. And also, we'll obviously need some love on our Instagram clips, but leave Papa some love as well and let him know he did a good job.
Well, be willing to mentor. You know, that's what would be my statement to you. And the rest of your team will benefit extraordinarily. Be willing to mentor. Be a coach. Mm-hmm. Be a coach.
Yeah, and a coach is not a cheerleader.
No,
you know,
and they're not a slave driver either.
Right. It's a happy medium. It's that finding that balance between. It's really tough love. It's probably like parenting. Like I know I made your life a living hell growing up. Yes, I have children. I'm getting paid back right now. But I know I was a royal pain in your ass at certain points of my teen years. That was rough. Sorry about that. But
you heard it here. No, it's not true.
No, it was. I was a handful. But anyways, but you know, the mentorship and the guidance and everything and the tough love at times and the support and all that stuff is why I didn't wind up in prison, I'd say. But but anyways, but the mentorship, it's important, you know? And had you just been like you can do it like all the time and didn't like have hard conversations and tough love and call me out on my BS, like I wouldn't have gotten it together like I did.
Well, know that you're providing that for the people who you're learning by being part of your team. Mm-hmm. Think team.
Not I.
I. There are no I's. Mm-hmm. You know, otherwise it's very limited.
Right.
Very limited. And then give yourself a good pat on the back. Just don't hurt yourself too hard.
Yeah. Y'all heard it here. Well, thank you guys so much for listening and for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, folks.